Today we're going to be taking a deep look into Resident Evil Village. Yeah, that's right. I skipped so many entries just to get to this one. Because, hey, baby, I like a good FPS, and this is an FPS game. But I love the way this game starts out. You, start out with this storybook rendition about, a mom and a daughter. And they go into the creepy woods, and the daughter's like, screw you, man. I'm just going to go explore by myself. A fear of every parent ever is just to have their kid run off into a forest by themselves. But then the story kind of progresses into a knockoff of Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree. Now, if you haven't read The Giving Tree, go read it. You didn't have a good childhood. Nobody actually loved you. You were probably an orphan, and I will stand on that hill. But the basic premise of The Giving Tree, if you don't know about it, is there's this tree, and it just keeps giving this guy whatever he needs to survive. And that's kind of what the forest is. All these different monsters and crap from the forest are just giving this kid whatever she needs to survive. But in, really creepy ways, hey, drink my blood. And then, one of them's, giving her a dress. Hey, I need you to undress in front of me. Sus, that is a child. Come on now. Only to instantly give the kid fish scales. Now, if you don't know what fish scales are, on the streets, the mad streets back where I'm from, homie, that means cocaine. They're getting, some good fish scale cocaine. I mean, this poor kid never learned, hey, if somebody offers you candy, you leave. And this is talking about some nose candy. Okay, I'm making some jumps here. I'm making some, accusations that Capcom does not deserve. But, this kid ends up just, ripping, a jewel off of a horse's face without even, I thought that you just wanted me to have the jewel. And just, rips it off of the thing, and then all the monsters just turn on her instantly. So it does have a different ending than The Giving Tree. The Giving Tree's just never, I'm gonna murder you now. And that's kind of the vibe this gets, and then turns into a witch. I don't know, this is a fucked up story to read a kid. I'm not gonna lie. And even, fucking Ethan says to his wife, why are you reading this to our child? And the chick's like, I don't know, they gave it to me in the village. I went and got my cappuccino, and I knew that we have an ugly ass baby, so I knew that our ugly ass baby needs the most ugly, horrific version of the Giving Tree possible. And did I mention this baby's uglier than shit? This is a pretty game. I have to say that Capcom, whatever engine they're using, it is juicing some nipples, baby. It's slapping some clitty, except for when it comes to making babies. This game cannot make a baby. I know, because I've made a baby myself, and if mine came out this goddamn ugly, I would have gone and got milk and cigarettes, and you would have never seen me again. This is an ugly ass baby. Why is his head 47 feet wide? Straight up, and this is future King Jiffy talking after I finish the game, this baby is scarier than almost every monster in this game just from its pure ugliness. But right after you put the kid to bed like a good papa that you are, you go back down and you start having a little bickering session with your wife. You're like, you don't want to talk about what happened years ago. And she's like, fuck you, dude, I've dealt with it already. And then she gets shot to death. That is how this progresses. Just full on, oh, no, we're coming in. No, hands on the ground. We're here to kill you. And they just murder my wife. And I'm like, bro, that's not really cash money. Then they steal my baby. This is straight up Fallout 4 at this point. I'm in my cryo sleep, and they're murdering my wife and stealing my child. What's the jump here, Chris Redfield? What are you doing with my life, homie? I thought we were chilling after the last game. Now, in the last game, you would go to this house. I haven't played it, but basically, you deal with a bunch of shit in a house with a bunch of creepy family, and then Chris Redfield puts you in witness protection, old witch sec, and he's like, hey, you just chill here. You can have some freedom to pile your wife as much as you want. You maybe can make another ugly baby. Who knows? But then he changes his mind and just murders your fucking wife, and you're like, this sucks. Only for you then to get drawn out of here. They're just like, oh, you gotta get in a car, you're under arrest, you don't know what you did, but we're not gonna tell you, because fuck you, dude. Nobody likes you. You suck. We understand that you did some cool stuff in the last game, but we don't fucking care. I decided I'm stealing your child. Only then do you get hit with the old cliche of your car wrecks in a weird ass place and you don't know where you're at, and oh, the phone's ringing, you gotta pick it up. Oh, this is a secure line, homie, you can't be talking on this. No, we're not going to tell you any information. You got to figure that out on yourself. You know, typical video game shit. You're just lost in the woods by yourself. It's a creepy atmosphere. Things are moving. You get to a cabin without anybody there. It's creepy as shit. typical like horror game trope shit, and actually just any game trope. Like you could do a war game where you're starting the war game sitting in like the little like fucking Humvee talking to your homies, and all of a sudden a bomb goes off, the game shaking. It's very typical. This was a very typical entry. I do have to say I was vibing with it though. Just because something's cliche does not mean it's bad. That is something that I feel like has been missed in tons of other type of creators' videos like mine in the same type of realm, the retrospective realm. You'll hear a lot of guys, well, that's a cliche, and then they'll kind of like shit on it. Just because something's cliche does not mean it has to be bad. If it works, it fucking works, baby. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If her clit shines, it probably tastes fine. Obviously, if they're over the age of consent. That's for all you Minecraft YouTubers out there. Come on, guys, pull it together. Find women your own age, or at least of age that's not disgusting. But anyways, you finally get to a cabin, and then there's just this jabroni with a shotgun, and he's like, oh yeah, the whole town's got some stuff happening to it. We gotta block the doors because it's scary outside. And then all sorts of shit starts going down. You start hearing like the in the walls, and it's just kind of creepy. He hands you that Glock 9000 that you're just gonna go fuck shit up with, and I'm like, finally a gun, dude. Well, there's nothing better than getting a gun in a game. It's just fantastic. There's nothing better than getting a gun in real life. There are tons and tons of joy to be had behind them. But then he gets just absolutely fucking ham blasted into the ceiling and completely dead. He is not going to be a reoccurring character. His life is over. Rest in peace, my dog. I also like that he gives you his, like, semi-automatic pistol, and he keeps his Elmer Fudd-ass shotgun. I mean, not saying he deserved to die in this situation, but what a stupid move. You have 2 shots or 1 shot in that thing. I didn't see how many barrels it had, and I think it was a double barrel. So you have 2 shots, homie. What are you gonna do with that? Oh, 1 monster's dead. Wow, congratulations. But you then get sucked into the basement, and all these fucking, like, zombie werewolves start showing up. And this is cool for me. This is where I was fully hooked because it wasn't just zombies. And if you know me well, I get a little bit annoyed with every game having goddamn zombies. It gets a little bit tiring. I mean, there is other mediums to be had, and so the fact that they're kind of I'm fucking down. I'm fucking down. It gives me a little bit of a chub to know that we're having different types of monsters this go round. It's not the same bullshit. I mean, and props to Ethan, bro. He gets his hand bit in half here, and this is a gnarly opening section to a game. I mean, just awful shit just keeps happening to this poor guy. I mean, I look at the other Resident Evil games I've played, and they have to deal with some monsters, and whoa, there's the zombies, and then this guy gets his hand bit in half. A whole, like, arsenal of fucking Lycans come in on horseback. Why they're on horseback? I don't know, but horses are back in fashion, I guess. They play too much Red Dead Redemption 2. And on top of all of this, his child got stolen, his wife got murdered in front of him, and now he's in a village he has no idea about. This is just not really going well for old Ethan. Not to mention that this big-ass jabroni just jumped in front of him, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was fiddly fucked right here. I thought my run in the sun was done, because this guy has a badass look for one, and for two, scary as shit, and then they just decide, oh, there's a sound, it's time to fucking leave, and that was cool for me, but I was very confused why they were just leaving me. Because, you know, if they just killed me right there, this game would have been over. There would be no journey for me to find the child. But they decided to leave me to my weapons and stuff and explore the whole vast village. And I go and find this little couple over next to where I got assaulted by a bunch of werewolves. One guy was in kind of bad pain. They were kind of being dicks to me, but I was like, alright, whatever. He's hurt. I know when I stub my toe, I can get a little salty and be a little bit of a mean person. Not to mention the fact that his whole town is now overrun by different kinds of monsters. Not gonna lie, I'd be in kind of a salty mood too. And then when some new rando shows up, I'm not instantly going to become his friend. As for his daughter, all I can say is, god damn that they put some good character work into those cheekbones. She is freaking fine, dude. I was like, well, maybe since my wife's dead, I can just plow this chick. I mean, it's not like she's got a whole lot going for her. Her whole village is dead. I'm kind of a big deal and all, saving everybody's life. I mean, as long as having a kid isn't a deal breaker, because I know it is for some people. We eventually end up knocking on the door, to which this guy greets us with a shotgun. Again, do not blame this man for doing this. even if it was my neighbors, bro, if this shit's going down, I'm gonna be sus of everybody. I'm gonna be looking at you like, I don't know if you can gritty right, get the fuck off of my property. But at the same time, if I like know him, there's just gonna be part of me that lets him in. Also, new guy, I'm gonna be really sus of him, man. So I get that them being kind of like, step back with me, don't really want to let me into the house. I mean, look at me. Dude, I'm missing fingers and I'm covered with my own blood. I don't seem like the type of guy you should be letting in your house, but they seem pretty chill. They let me in. They start having their little like pray session. I mean, cool, good for you guys. The one thing I did think was weird was they weren't praying to old Jesus. They were praying to some Mother Miranda, who I have no idea who she is. I mean, I feel like if Mother Miranda, it seems like the head lady of this town, I don't think she's really looking after you guys, considering werewolves are attacking and all, but you gotta have hope in something, so I can't fault them for trying to get a little peace in the scary moment that they have. I mean, it's kind of a wholesome moment. At the end of the day, I do like a little bit of wholesome moments. It would have been a little bit more awkward and tone ruining if they were having an orgy or something. So I like that it sets the stage. Only thing that kind of ruins the stage of them having hope and in these moments of terror was the old guy that you kind of saved starts acting a little bit funky. He's having some issues, got some stomach pain. Maybe he needs a Tums. Maybe we got to get him some Tums. But I don't know. He's collapsing. He's not. He's got a machete too. Like I don't think collapsing and having a machete is the Jesus, you're murdering women. Yep, everyone dies here. Everyone gets murdered right here because he turns into a fucking goblin and starts attaching himself to the ceiling. Fucking his hot daughter's like, no, Papa, we could save you, Papa. And I'm like, I don't think anybody's gonna be saved here because, like, Jesus, ripping throats out. Yep, this guy's fucked. We light the place on fire. And I have to pull out my Glock made of dreams after he like tries to force himself on me. God, men are the worst. But I don't have my Glock because she's got it. She's got the Glock. Shoots her own dad dead. It wasn't even a Glock, it was a shotgun. I guess a double barrel does come in handy sometimes. And she uses both rounds right there. Just fucking throwing him back. Throwing it back, baby. I guess the praying really didn't help them in the end, but hey, I mean, can't fault them for hope. It's kind of a messed up situation going from a prayer to a guy cutting one of your family members in the head with a machete and then eating another one's throat out. And that's sad because we had to leave her dad to die that she just shot. It's kind of just this really fucked up moment, and you kind of have this great couple second moment where she's kind of like, can you just fuck off while I deal with the fact that I had to shoot my father in the face, please? I liked it. It was good. I liked it. We also get to drive a truck here. It's not like the most ingenuitive driving. It's not like I had to drive around the map, but I thought it was very cinematic. I like that I put this old fucking square body to work because square bodies are based and red-pilled and awesome, and I would own one if they didn't guzzle gas more than a slut guzzles cum. It also makes sense that I'm like plowing through walls right here because like square bodies are like made out of steel still, so that's why they were so like old steel cars. If you got in a bad car accident, you were in much worse shape because the car would do tons of damage to you because you actually had the ability to damage a steel-bodied car. But with the fire ensuing and getting to a crazy degree, it was time that we got the fuck out of here. GTFO'd, one would say, in the modern age of things. We had to get moving. So I decided to climb on the hood of the car, which is perfectly pushed up against the staircase. After that, I finally get some one-on-one time with my girl. I mean, God, is she gorgeous. And I'm like, listen, baby, listen. I know there's a lot of monsters out there, but like, for real though, I got you, girl. I know things are scary right now, but together we can prove all. And that's when her fucking dad shows up and becomes a cock block. I mean, I thought we ended his ass. And he's like, oh no, Elena, I still love you. Papa's loves you. Be Papa's good girl. And she like goes to save him. And it's a terrible idea. Like, why? Why would you make that decision? You shot him twice. It's obviously not him. I'm trying to save her ass. And she's like, you just need to leave. You need to leave. I gotta stay with him. It's too late for me. At this point, I'm at the point where I'm about to leave her. I don't care how hot she is. She's being straight up dumb. And when her dad dies, she's like, oh no, I made a mistake. I'm gonna, and then she dies. She fucking dies. Everybody dies. I've just learned that everyone is a waste, and it's time for me to just get the pieces of the puzzle I need, because the whole thing I'm doing right now, the reason I was helping these people, is so I can get pieces to this door to progress this story. One interesting thing that happened right after I got the piece of the door, I push open this other big door, because the door that I need to fix isn't over here, obviously, but I push open the door to the mansion, and I'm guessing this bitch is Mother Miranda. Yeah, a lot of good you did for your followers. I mean, talk about a Jim Jones-ass motherfucker right here. Just leaving your people to die, letting them drink the Kool-Aid. You don't seem real base. And then I meet this witch lady right after that, who's just like, on like Fetty Wap or something. I don't know. She's gacked out of her mind. I feel like she's useless when it comes to like actually being able to have a conversation. So I kind of dip out on her because she sucks and go back to doing some typical Resident Evil puzzle solving, which are always pick up thing and put thing in slot. And already I'm starting to love this game just for the gothic architecture. I am a sucker for gothic architecture and some steampunk vibes inside of that, and then this game does it. I mean, you got the cool levers, you got the cool gears, you got the fucking gothic architecture. I'm sold. And right after I decide to do this, some guy shows up. He's fucking Magneto. He's like the redneck Eastern Europe Magneto, and I'm like, okay, I'm vibing with this. And look how cool he is. He looks like Dante from Devil May Cry, except for Magneto powers. Fucking cool, dude. So far, I'm in love with every single direction they've decided to go with these characters, except for the baby. The baby is still ugly as shit, and I will die on that hill. That is one ugly ass baby. At the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do for your kids, and if that means getting covered in metal and dragged off by fucking Dante Magneto, you gotta do it. And then you see Mother Miranda for the second time, and this time you get a little closer look, and she's surrounded by a bunch of goofball individuals. This looks like the weirdest group of Avengers you've ever seen, man. You got the morning puppet lady, you got a fucking Magneto with a hammer, then you got an old stacked ass vampire chick that's got some nice titties. On top of that, you got fucking like slimy Igor over in the corner. What a goofy group of individuals. I don't know what type of flyer this bitch put up and where. She went to like different parts of Europe and was like, give me your ugliest and then your one hottest. And then if you have somebody that looks like Devil May Cry, give me them too. As long as they're fucking weird, we want them. And then these two start arguing over me, which makes me feel kind of special. I'm like, whoa, cool. Fucking old Heisenberg over here, fucking Dante Magneto, he wants me. And then stacked up fucking vampire chicks like, I just want him to motorboat me real hard while I suck him dry. But at the end of the day, old Heisenberg gets me, and I go on my little journey through this gauntlet of running. I'm running through with my handcuffs, baby, and I have to say, is this freaking cool. I like this so much. Just running. Monsters are coming from each angle. I feel like I'm on a time limit. I'm ripping down boards with my coolness. I mean, these boards obviously aren't doing their job if one kick can break them. They must be dry rotted, or, well, what are those bugs? Termites? They got termites in them. Fucking a hammered lichen dude shows up and just smacks my happy ass on the ground. And at this point, I'm beginning to believe that Ethan is immortal, that nothing can truly hurt this man, because he seems to be able to survive anything at this point. And he just goes on a little wonderful slide down into like the depths of hell. I eventually do make my way out of this bitch, cause ain't nothing gonna tie me down. Nothing gonna keep me held back. I don't care if you got blades and monsters and warriors. I'm Ethan, motherfucker. I don't play with your shit. I am going to take you out, take my penis, drop it on your forehead, and you're gonna deal with it. I eventually get up to this little cart, and this giant fat man just rolls his gut outside. I mean, look at him. He's like if you took Boogie and Wings of Redemption from Locale Live and just like threw them at a cart and made them way cooler. Cause this guy is the homie. I realized right away to not be fat phobic with this dude and to be his friend, because he seems to have everything I need. I mean, he sold me a cool ass machine gun, which the only reason I have this machine gun is because I bought this like DLC pack, which gave me like unlimited ammo and cool guns. And if you're gonna get mad at me from buying microtransactions, at the end of the day, I really don't care. But hell, hit me with a dislike, hit me with a like if you do support my actions. And at the end of the day, I have cool guns, you didn't. I don't care. We're moving on. And that's when I get to this new mansion, right? I get to the mansion of the vampires. And these three sexy-ass vampire girls just start, like putting me on the ground. And I'm not into dominatrix stuff. I'm not into having, like, my nuts stepped on. But there was a moment deep inside of me where I was like, please step on my nuts. I will accept it if all three of you were going to, like, suck on me. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of pain happening here. I get that. But I was also weirdly turned on. And I think that's okay at the end of the day. It's not like I looked up triplet porn or a three sisters porn after this, so I'm not that much of a degenerate. But there was a part of me that was like, hey, three sexy women kind of taking advantage of me. I'm cool with it. But then I kind of get brought to their mom, and again, she is stacked like crazy. It's kind of sad that I know I'm going to kill all of them, and I'm not going to see how these three daughters turn out, because if their mom's that stacked, they have a wonderful, like, life of being hot ahead of them, only they had to fuck with me. And when you fuck with me, you get fucked with, if you know what I mean. I'm laying it down for the real motherfuckers out there. I don't play no games, except for when I'm playing video games. And again, right here is where you start to have like some real gnarly stuff start happening to old Ethan. I mean, yeah, it's kind of hot when she's sucking the blood out of you, but you know gnarly stuff's gonna happen, and her massive tits aren't enough to get you comfortable with what's gonna happen next, because they put you on goddamn spikes on the wall, and watching him rip the spike through his fingers. I mean, nothing's worse than getting a paper cut through the web of your fingers. Could you imagine pulling a blade through those? And this dude just kind of pours water on it. I mean, that's how he heals. I guess that water, or whatever this chemical is, just like rebuilds your body again. And right after I get through here, I mean, I'm making good work, because I also have this rocket gun. If you don't know anything about this gun was actually invented so we could have wars in space. A fun fact, this is a real gun. This gun that shoots projectile rockets was made in case we had to have fights in space, because conventional bullets would not work. And that alone was enough for me to buy the DLC to be able to use this gun, because I think it was a DLC exclusive item. But it's cool. I love the fact that it's a very niche gun that they had to like research, and they actually made the ammo look like the real ammo. I think that type of stuff's cool. But at the end of the day, I did get attacked by another one of the daughters, and of course she's hot, but I know how to kill vampires. Vampires are fucking easy, bro. You think you're gonna come after me when it's daytime? I'll just shoot the windows out. I'm gonna Bruce Lee on a motherfucker right here. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar couldn't handle the light, and neither can you, bitch. And at the end of the day, that's how I beat her. She got swarmed up by the light. I like how the light and the wind comes in. The wind comes in to kind of symbolize the light. I mean, also the fact that I broke the windows and it's windy outside. But I really like the effect it showed, because it kind of cools down after she's dead. I don't know. It was something that I really enjoyed. Another thing that this game gave me through the DLC was a lightsaber, and it's a double-sided lightsaber. So I'm just Darth Maul through this motherfucker right now, and that's cool. That's amazing. And I know there's still probably people mad at me because I bought this microtransaction. I buy everything on sale, so this cost me like $1, and $1 for infinite ammo was a pretty good deal for me. And it wasn't just the infinite ammo. If it was just that, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But the fact that I got a lightsaber, come on, who doesn't want to run through a game with monsters and have a lightsaber in first person? There's not a ton of Star Wars games that let you have a lightsaber in first person, so let's let Resident Evil Village do the heavy lifting. And to be honest with you, I really don't use the lightsaber very much in this game. It was more kind of a gimmick pull out. I'd pull it out, mess some stuff up with the lightsaber, and then I would move on, because it's honestly better to use guns anyways, because if they get that distance between you, they'll just mess you up. But I finally do catch up with old sexy lady vampire, and she's just like chilling, and I was pulling an old John Belushi from Animal House, where I'm just like right outside the window, and for some reason she can't see me. She's taking a phone call with Mother Miranda like, hey, listen, Heisenberg didn't get him. He's here. He's at my crib right now. I don't want to deal with him. And then Mother Miranda's like, but the ceremony. We have to do the ceremony. And she's like, whatever. And it's kind of funny watching this bitch deal with her boss, because I think we can all relate to that one boss that sucks. And no matter what you do, it just seems like you always have to deal with their annoying ass, and it makes you want to throw an entire dresser across the room. So I did kind of relate with her in this situation, even though she's the bad guy, in a very weird way. I felt like we had this unspoken common ground, even though neither of us saw each other. We can both understand that situation, but obviously we weren't on that common of a ground, because when she shows up, bro, she's gonna kill me, and I'm scared to death because I like killed her daughter, and she's just like gonna mess me up, dude. Which honestly is fair, considering the whole reason I'm in this place to begin with is I think she has my daughter. So I mean, a daughter for a daughter is what it's kind of boiling down to, only I have a feeling I'm going to get my daughter back, and I'm going to end up murdering all of hers. But this part was kind of scary. I mean, I'm not going to lie, whenever she shows up, My tivers are a timbering. I'm a little scared. It's also that in these type of games, I try to make myself a little scared because I think it adds to the fun. And I know that a lot of times when I'm playing horror games, I'm going to be playing them where I have more ammo and shit. So the moments when the game actually scares me genuinely mean a lot more. Like this moment where she cuts my arm off, dude. Holy cap, was I not afraid. I was so scared, and like, you can't do anything. You can't shoot her to slow her down or anything right here because of the fact that you can't use your gun because you don't have the hand that can operate the trigger. I was super curious what the game was going to do with this. I was like, does this mean that I can't use guns anymore? This is kind of cringe. And he just kind of like takes his hand back and like puts it in his pocket. I'm like, we'll use that later, I guess. Maybe it's a puzzle item. I don't know. But I was so scared that I was going to die here. And she has these giant claws that are so terrifying. She luckily doesn't walk very fast. She's kind of like that big guy, the Nemesis from Resident Evil 2. She has that overbearing personality just like him. I know that I can avoid her. The only downside about her is the fact that she doesn't go down with a couple shots like Nemesis did. So this game, unlike Resident Evil 2, you have to just outmaneuver her. You don't have the option of just putting her down really quick and then running past her, which I kind of don't like that. I think it's kind of regressive in a sense, especially with it being a first-person shooter. I think it would have made it too easy to get past her, so I understand why they did it. But at the end of the day, I didn't make the game. They made the creative decision, and I'll stand by it because it does add fear to the game. You do end up pouring water on your fucking stump and putting your hand back on, which makes absolutely no sense. Again, I guess the fucking water in this game is just made out of the tears of Jesus or something and makes you instantly heal. It is so illogical, but I kind of love it. I love a lot of the fact that the water just heals you, and when you're hurt, you just kind of dump holy water on your ass and move on, and then everything's back to normal. Even though I'm back to normal, I'm still holding a grudge. I mean, she cut off my arm. It's time I murder her daughters. So it's time for me to get this fucking ball moving, dude. So I go down and hunt this first one down. These girls, I actually think they're more scary than their mom because they turn into flies and just kind of fucking swarm you. It is nice that the game kind of like says, hey, look at this wall, blow it up, and then she'll die. I mean, they're very easy to kill. They're not like a difficult boss fight. But when they get on your ass, it is terrifying because you have no recourse of like slowing them down. It's not like you can run around a fucking pillar like you can with their mom. They just swarm your ass, and it's a little bit terrifying. But now that there's only one daughter left, it's time for me to put her down too. She thinks she can take a bite out of me? No, bitch. I'm gonna take a bite out of your lifeline by shooting a hole in the ceiling, and you can't deal because I'm better than you. This fight was my favorite of the three, easily. I know why they saved it for last, because the first two were very similar. You shoot the wall, you let them walk into it. This one, you kind of have to coax her into the middle. I mean, if you shoot the light while she's standing in the middle, it probably would have been easier. I just kind of panicked and shot it because I was scared, and I didn't realize I also had to, like, pull a switch. But yeah, this was the coolest one. I thought this was also the most cinematic because the light's coming down on her. I don't know, really love this. I love this whole section here. It's kind of stretched out, and future Jeffrey coming in right now, this is the biggest and most expansive area you will have in the game that feels the most like old Resident Evil games where you have this big hub area and then the game really branches out and does its own thing. And I like that it sets with this very classic Resident Evil design for this opening section because it then goes into its new ideas, and I like when a game tries to do something a little more experimental. I eventually do get this dagger, which looks super sick. I mean, come on, man. Tell me that doesn't look like something you'd find in Berserk or Solo Leveling. And this bitch just straight up, like, gacks me in the stomach, just stabs the shit out of me. And I stab her too. I mean, obviously. I don't stab them titties, though, because those need to be put on a placard somewhere and say, hey, this is how you should make titties in games. These are fantastic. They are wonderful, perfectly made, nice balloons, but then she turns into this weird, disgusting monster right before your eyes. Even though your dagger went to like the depths of hell below, she still turns into this giant, terrifying creature. It is funny though because she's like on top of it and she still has the big tits. I don't know. I just think it's funny when games do that. They create a giant monster and then the top is just this big titty lady. It's fantastic. But yeah, this thing's from my fucking nightmares. This is a terrifying looking monster. And knowing that I mentioned Berserk makes me really happy because this almost has a dark fantasy like aesthetic, and the fact that you're also fighting like a Resident Evil version of a dragon on a castle is so freaking based. I love this so fucking much. And this boss fight is one of my favorite boss fights in the entire series that I've played thus far. I mean, the fact that you're just like plowing her with bullets while it's coming in like a dragon from fucking The Witcher 2. This is sick. This is what I play games for. These moments right here. Because I have played games where they would have just made the mom the same way as the daughters and you just need light to beat her. So the fact that it's like sunny outside and that doesn't bother her, but the bullets from your wrath do, and the way to take her out is you just drop her from the fucking top of a castle. This is awesome. I like the direction they took it. I'm glad they didn't go with the easy way out and they tried to be original with this. It's amazing. This is so far made this easily my favorite Resident Evil game in the series. Not just because it's first person. I know that that's already going to put it leagues ahead of a lot of the games because I'm a first person nut job. I get just immersion's better for me in first person situations, but I also like that they took the extra steps to make this nice. I do end up finding this yellow jar of piss, which the fat guy tells me is the head of my daughter, which is super fucked up that they chopped my daughter into 4 pieces and then pickled her ass. I have a pickled head of my child right here, and he's like all freaked out about it. Like, obviously, I know that this is a lie though, and the game can tell me whatever it wants, but I saw that baby's head. There is no way it fits in that jar. That thing would need like 6 of those fucking jars, because the size of that baby's head would need at least a shipping container to hold that thing. It had such a big head. I think I've gotten the point out, but yeah, so you find out your child's been cut up into 4 pieces and distributed to all 4 of the different like heads of Mother Miranda's group. And with the sudden demise of Big Titty Vampire Chick, you got Ventriloquism, Ugly Igor, and Heisenberg left to take off the market. And nice old vendor fat guy decided he's gonna help me out and show me all the locations marked on my map, which is nice, but this game's only an open world light type of game. It's very linear, but it kind of tries to deceive you that it's also open world. But in reality, you have a key that can only open up one direction. So I go to the Ventriloquism bitch's house first, which is a complete like opposite of how the dark fantasy vibe of Big Titty Vampire Chick's house was. This whole section gives me hardcore Brothers Grimm vibes, which I'm so happy about because I was worried about biome differentiation. When I was playing the first section, I was like, is everything going to have like this Eastern Europe dark fantasy vibe, or am I going to have some differentiation here? And I was happily surprised with the next section because it doesn't feel like they just did this to give you differentiation between different biomes. It also feels like they catered these sections to the bosses, and the bosses kind of sit as this storybook vibe. Now you go from the first section, you're in this fucking dark fantasy world, and then you go to the Brothers Grimm, and it's like you're reading some of these messed up children's books, but in real time. And then it takes like a little bit more harder turn into like the more grotesque horror, and I like the fact that it's bouncing between these different subgenres of horror, but still continuing a constant state of continuity. I think it's really genius what they've done with this. I know I'm glazing like a mofo right here, but at the end of the day, I do believe they've done some really great things with the stylistic choices made in this game. I also wasn't sure about this at first because this whole first area you get knocked out and put into a puzzle room, and I was like, cringe, a puzzle room. I actually really enjoyed this because the atmosphere in this section gives you like the creeps the whole time. My hairs were standing up on edge all the way through my ballsack to my butthole this entire time. I mean, my taint was rubbed raw just because of how much tension was in those hairs. Not to mention, once you figure out the puzzle, you get the most terrifying thing in this game other than your child's head, and that's a giant fucking creepy ass baby crawling, laughing, and crying through the hallways covered in blood. This thing is fucking everything nightmares are made of. I do not like this thing. I was so fucking afraid in this moment. And it wasn't even one of those moments where I knew that it was going to mess me up and that's why I was scared. No, it was just scary because the thing was freaking scary. I like that a lot better than an ominous big creature that's going to kill you, is if the creature itself is scary looking to begin with. Because, like, the dominatrix bitch wasn't that scary. She had scary claws that could cut you up. Her daughters were the scarier threat. They actually had like a creepy vibe with the bugs. But then compared to this thing, it's not even close. This moment right here, right before I open the elevator doors, where I kind of lure it into a room and I'm standing on the other side of this table. That's all I can say, just, I don't like it. I don't like it. I couldn't get out of here fast enough. This elevator door was not quick enough for me to get in, and I knew that this thing was just moments from, like, ruining my existence. Ugh, this is so scary. And, like, the fact that it closes the door, and then you just get to see its, like, gaping, giant, creepy mouth, and, like, the way it moves. No, sir. Go fucking pound sand up your ass. And to be honest, dolls don't really bother me. So, like, the last section of this little house where you chase the little creepy doll around the building, not too scary to me. I didn't find them as terrifying as I found the actual baby. So this was kind of like a nice reprieve from my fear mode that I was put in. And I'm sure that there were some people who were like, the baby wasn't that scary, but them dolls are terrifying. I remember when I was a kid and the Goosebumps story about the dolls scared me half to death. But for me, it was just like, I'm playing hide and seek with a doll. This is actually kind of adorable. Even when I'm like stabbing it in the head with scissors, I still found a bit of this to be kind of adorable in a way. I don't know. I was like, this was kind of like I could joke on it and make laughs in my own mind, and I wasn't having this constant state of fear and terror throughout my being. Which, at the same time, I'm kind of disappointed with the direction this went. Even though this is a cool idea on how to finish the doll girl, is you have to play hide and seek and find her a certain amount of times, stab her in the head, go find her in the next position. It's cool in concept, but in reality, I just kind of felt like I spent a lot of time wandering around this house, and after the horrors that I felt with that baby, that it didn't escalate was kind of a downtrodden note. But it was also, I also had fun with it. I don't know, it was this weird spot of, I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Probably my least favorite of the little dungeons in the game, just because it ended on such a mid-note. Because, like, after you beat the doll, I was like, ooh, I'm finally gonna fight, like, the main chick. But in all reality, I was stabbing her head the whole time. I wasn't stabbing the doll, and that was the end of it. I don't know, kind of anticlimactic. At the same time, the baby went so fucking hard that I still consider this a really great section of the game. Now that I've killed Jeff Dunham's ugly cousin, it's time for me to go find Igor's cousin who has SARS. That's right, I'm gonna go find the little weird hunchback of Notre village, and then I get attacked by this dog. I get, like, just full on blasted. This is the coolest dog monster I have probably ever seen in a game, not gonna lie. And this thing was terrifying. I opened the door just to get, like, wrecked by this thing. And instantly I'm happy because of the fact that I know that there's going to be some action here. It's time for me to start beating the pussy up again. That's right. And I just am not going to lay down. I'm laying down some suppressor fire. Some suppressive fire, baby, with my rocket gun, my machine gun. I'm tearing in a new hole. And I'm so happy because of the fact that even though I really enjoyed the last section with Jeff Dunham's cousin, it's time for me to get my guns out and start tearing it up again. I also thought it was kind of funny how fast you get the next piece of your daughter from Igor's ugly pus-ridden cousin. And it's kind of funny how the monster starts talking to you like, don't take it, Mother Miranda doesn't trust me. And it's like, bro, I knew what was going on, but there's times in this game where I genuinely think Ethan might be one of the dumbest protagonists of all time. He just keeps talking to this ugly monster after the other two monsters tried to legitimately ruin his life. Like, he thinks this one's gonna be its friend, and it goes from talking all meek to like, I'm going to eat your family, I will molest you. And it's like, whoa, bro, you need to calm down. And it purposely is trying to keep you here to trick you because it's using its fucking pus to, like, close up the entrance that you came in from, so you can't just, like, skibbity out of there. And Ethan is for sure a badass individual, especially with me controlling him with infinite ammo, but bro's brain cells don't seem to be firing the right amount of neurons to make him make the right decisions in these situations. And you do run into Chris Renfield again, and there's this cool interaction you have where he's like, you need to stay out of this, Ethan. And it's probably because Ethan is a walking idiot, but at the same time, I'm like, you killed my wife. I don't trust you. But you kind of get this vibe here. Then Chris is something that more than meets the eye, you know, because it seems like he wants to protect you, that he has your best intentions at hand, but at the same time, you don't trust him because of what you've seen in the situation. He does save your ass here, though, so I'm kind of like a coin toss with whether Chris is an asshole or a good guy in this game, but the past games kind of make me want to think that Chris is a good guy, because wasn't he a good guy before? I don't know. I haven't played a lot of the games with him in it. Regardless of whether Chris is good or not, really doesn't matter, because right after this, you do get your boss fight with Squid Monster Man himself, and I love this, dude. I really thought this was a really cool boss fight, because it has this mechanic to where he'll spit acid up in the air, and you have to like hide in an area to like stay away from the acid, and then you go full frontal assault with all of your arsenal on his ass. And I know that I have like a little bit of an advantage because I have unlimited ammo, and I actually prefer that because I am more of an FPS based guy to begin with. So I get mad in games when I don't have enough ammo, especially when it comes to horror games. I want to just experience the game like it was if it were Fear 2 or some shit. And I did fully like these full action packed sections where I'm just unloading an arsenal on the enemy, and I thought this boss fight was so cool. I like the guys coming out of his mouth. A great boss design. I'd put it right underneath Big Titty Vampire Chick's boss design. I think that was still top tier, but this is coming in a close second. Another thing I haven't really mentioned with this game is throughout the game you'll find things like giant crystals that you can use as currency. Also, you'll find different weapons around the map. Oh, my favorite weapon in the game is this like quick draw revolver type thing. It's got super Call of Juarez gunslinger vibes. Absolutely in love with this gun. I also really just like the shooting mechanics in this game regardless. It really kind of like harkens back to a game like Darkwatch because you don't have ADSing, but the gunplay is still very fluid. So it kind of has that Darkwatch Halo vibe of old that I really am kind of nostalgic for. And even though a lot of guns, it kind of irritates me because you can obviously tell it has a sight on it and you can't use the sight, it still feels pretty good. But right after you go from fucking Lovecraftian horrors, now it's time to go find old Heisenberg, old Dante Magneto himself. But before that, you gotta fight that giant werewolf guy, and I have to say that boss fight was so sick, dude. And plus I have the super revolver to do it too, and when he jumps down and like gets in your face, this is such a sick boss fight, and I love that this game was just like, alright, we've kind of slowed it down in that one part, you did what we wanted you to do, alright? Now it's time for you to tear some goddamn ass, and this area tears so much ass. It's throwing so many enemies at you, and at this point in the game, you should have a decent enough arsenal to be able to handle these enemies. It's just so cool, and the whole thing about this is you're going through this to get your last piece of your daughter, because the old Magneto guy has a proposition for you. He's like, listen, man, I have an idea. I don't like fucking stupid Mother Miranda bitch as much as you don't like her. It's time that we make a deal. The problem being your daughter is part of the deal. You see, for some reason, everybody wants your daughter because she holds this, like, supernatural power of some sort. I have no idea. It really doesn't go into what her power is. All we know is she's a super powerful being. It must be because you got some super powerful jizz that created her. Or either that or your wife has, like, really powerful womb to just, like, cultivate this supernatural daughter. But he wants to utilize her as a weapon. And we're not cool with that. We shouldn't use weapons kids as weapons. It's not based. It's not cool. I just don't like when people like use kids as weapons. So I'm with Ethan here. Listen, Dante Magneto, you gotta cool your ass down. And he puts me in this chair, and obviously once I get put in a chair, he's gonna throw me down into a hole where there's just a monster whose entire head is a propeller of a plane. This is scary. I'm sorry. This is like one of the scariest things that anybody could imagine. I don't like, it's not on the level of that creepy baby from stupid Jeff Dunham section, but it is a terrifying creature, and it was one of the things that killed me in this death animation. It's not just a propeller of a plane. No, it's spinning chainsaw blades. What the actual fuck? But I eventually do get away from that jabroni, and I run into these like cyborgs, because this has like a weird like horror punk vibe in this whole area with Dante Magneto, and it's because he can like manipulate metal and machinery, so he's creating and cultivating this army of super robots, and you fight like some mech zombies at some point. And I have to say that this game has some of the best enemy design and enemy variety I have played in a horror game. Horror games can be sometimes just you fight actually a lot of shooters can be where you fight the same enemy throughout the game, and this game is constantly switching it up. You do fight a lot of the same enemies from the beginning, but you don't ever feel like when you run into those similar enemies that they're overwhelmingly same, you know? And it might just be because I have like a weird thing for mechs. I really enjoy mech-based stuff and like mechanical type enemies, and the fact that they combined zombies and horror with RoboCop is absolutely cool, and the fact that they have like drills for arms, I don't know, dude, I'm giving this thing a hard glazing. I mean, even though I have the Jizz Pistol 5000 that really just kind of makes them useless, I still had so much fun with these enemies. I loved the mechanical vibe of this area. And one thing I was saying about the last area was like, the last area was like Lovecraftian, and then you go to like Brothers Grimm, to dark fantasy, and I feel like this is just running me through childhood stories of horror. I don't know, it's cool. I like that I'm going from these different things, and it's almost like I'm jumping into different stories, but they all feel a part of the same universe. That was something really hard to do, but they make it work so well, and in some games when you run into something like this, it'd feel really out of place, but the game slowly progresses to this direction, and it works so goddamn well. I mean, even when I was playing Resident Evil 2, the jump to the lab felt a bit like abrasive and out of nowhere. It wasn't like fully out of nowhere, it was kind of leading to that, but this game I feel leads even better. Even when you get to fight the chainsaw jet propeller guy, he makes sense in this world that it's slowly cultivated. When you first see him, he feels almost out of place and a bit fast to be jumping that direction, and then you get a break from him for a while and it builds back to him. It's just so brilliant. I really like how they took the time to really establish why these creatures are this way and how Heisenberg has created them in this direction. Just genius. And the boss fight with him where he's charging you, it really harkens back to an older style of gameplay. I love it from beginning to end. I just had so much fun. This was such a nice mini boss fight because it didn't feel like a big boss fight, but it did feel like a good like warm up to what I knew was going to be a giant blowout against Heisenberg. Because there's no way in hell that I'm just going to let him throw me down in a hole, fight a chainsaw motor man, and then there's not going to be another cool fight. That's just, this game has ramped me up way too hard for there not to be that thing. I know it's gonna happen. It's gonna be cool. And when he shows back up, dude, oh, you there's not enough nut curling in the world that would have got me juiced up better than this. Dude, the bars on the door swing by, just the whole room just going into absolute chaos. And he just comes walking down like Magneto and X-Men, dude, jizzing out of my goddamn nose right now, dude. I'm jizzing everywhere. This was so sick. I thought it was funny that I'm just shooting my little, like, pistol. I don't even have that pistol in my inventory, which is another funny thing in this whole situation. I don't even have that fucker. I got better pistols than that. That's one thing that's funny in cutscenes in games when they don't use your actual weapon, is it's just like some random fucking bullshit model they pulled out. They're like, yeah, you haven't used this like fucking since the beginning of the game, but here's this shit again. Right after this though, and he throws me back into another fucking hole. What a douchebag. But I run into Chris Renfield and I find out all the tea, baby. Like, I'm deep in the drama now. Basically, my wife wasn't my wife, so he didn't kill my wife. That was fucking Mother Miranda, and that bitch switched herself out with my wife. I don't understand how Ethan didn't see that shit coming when I'm reading that storybook at the beginning of the game, that fucking creepy ass Giving Tree bullshit. Of course that's not my fucking wife. That's some propaganda shit. Call Sweet Baby Inc. That's a joke. If you can't handle it, go fucking juice your nipples on another video. But yeah, so he didn't actually kill my wife. He fucking killed the bitch that was pretending to be my wife, that somehow like snuck in underneath the radar. And bro doesn't know all the details. He still doesn't want me to get involved, but man, I mean, I'm involved now. I'm fucking balls deep, dick deep, slapping clit. I'm here and I'm gonna do it. So the fact of the matter is I gotta go tear up Heisenberg. We always knew that this day was coming. And Ethan's gonna be my homie throughout it, because like he's always been looking out of my best intentions, and even he says, I don't know why I didn't just tell you from the beginning. That probably would have cleared up a lot of confusion, because for 90% of this game, Ethan has thought you were just his wife killer. I mean, even though he was too stupid to know like differences in his own wife. Like, I'm pretty sure if I looked at my wife and the way I talk, and I talk to my wife just like I talk on this shit, a bunch of outlandish bullshit. And if I were to walk up to her and start saying that, some demon bitch would have been like, excuse me, what'd you say about cutting my taint? And I would be like, yeah, I know, but you know I'm not going to actually do it because when we make jokes. See, that's the type of shit that the demon wouldn't understand. It would probably just, like, spread its taint and let it be ready for the cutting, and I'd be like, whoa, bitch, where's my wife? Where's my actual wife? That's why Ethan's a bitch sometimes, and he's kind of an idiot. I do like the boss fight I get out of this, but like Ethan's kind of dumb as fuck. He's like straight up stupid in a lot of this shit. I mean, how do you spend like a year with your wife and not know it's not your fucking wife? I don't know. But this fucking boss fight was sick. You're driving around in a fucking like tank shooting at it. Again, dude, I'm getting hard over mech shit. I know it's not fully a mech, but anytime you put me in a vehicle with a chainsaw arm and a gun, I'm gonna be fucking hard as a rock, dude. I'm going to be cutting crystals with my penis and then slowly working my way up to diamond. Not to mention just how over the top and amazing this is. It almost feels like it was pulled out of a different game, but it fits somehow. And that's something that I have to keep giving this game so much goddamn credit for, because it does a lot of stuff that feels out of place in a game like this, but just works. And if it works, full send it, baby. That's just how the world is. I mean, even when I get knocked out of this stupid tank thing and I'm shooting it with a pistol, dude, I am just it's just so over the top, so cinematically gorgeous, so cool. I mean, just watch this right here. Watch me get sucked into the air, dude. And it's as good as me getting sucked off, and that's not even allowed on YouTube. I mean, I'm just fucking flying up. I'm looking for my car. I'm like, oh, dude, I gotta get that gat, dude. I gotta get that gat in those nightmares and send it to its hell. And I get on this thing, and then it gives me control. Oh, dude, I'm coming so hard. Oh, guns in its fucking engine. Dude, and I beat him, and he just can't believe it because he's like the ultimate G of Mother Miranda's crew. He's just like, I couldn't believe it. I can't. It's not good. I'm not good. How did I die? I'm such a bitch. And I'm better, dude. It's because I'm better. You suck. I'm better. Eat a dick. Eat a dick. I'm too good. I just, everything about this game is so good. I do have to say, when Mother Miranda shows up, this is where it threw me for a bit of a curb. I mean, she fucks me up, dude. And she's like switching between being the old lady and then being my wife, and just kind of showing that she's been pulling strings since the beginning of the game. Now, me, the gamer playing this, I've known that something's been up with the old lady. I know something's been up with my wife. I had a feeling, dude. There's no way that we start with a creepy book. There's a weird other lady. She's been like monitoring my ass from the beginning because she's interested. I saw this shit coming, but Ethan's like dense, dude. He's like your average like surfer guy. Like, oh, dude, I can't believe that you were my wife the whole time. Like, how does that even happen? We like had dinner together, and then like you're the old lady too. Like, how? Oh no, you're ripping my heart out. How could you rip my heart out like that? I thought we were tight, bro. And he like dies, and that's what it like alludes. But God, Ethan's stupid, bro. He is so dumb. Even though I have been clowning on him for being an idiot, I still love him as a character some weird way. I actually did kind of feel something in my fifis about how his final resting place was gonna be. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cringe, dude. But then I started to see what was going on. It was old Chris Renfield kind of going through the situation, going through everything that was happening and how we were going to deal with this situation. And he's kind of sad that they never found Ethan's body. And I'm like, oh, Ethan's alive. Ethan's alive. He's fine. He's mad chilling. But I was like, ooh, maybe I get to play as Chris real quick. That's going to be pretty tight. I mean, overall, he seems like the best, like, overall character in this game, even though, like, Ethan's pretty tight. Ethan's pretty tight, but he's an idiot, and I can kind of see why Chris didn't want to tell him what was going on, because he'd probably have some, no, really? Like, they're gonna take my wife? Oh, how? Is there an evil out there? Yeah, he would have been stupid about it, and I just feel like Chris is more of a tactical, like a thinker. He just knows what's going on, and at the same time, there's, like, another group coming in, and they're like, screwing everything up, and this game goes straight up to Call of Duty at this point. You're checking if you're loaded. I mean, it feels like I'm playing Call of Duty back in like the Black Ops 1 days. This is so much Modern Warfare vibes. I love this. It obviously changes to a completely more action-based tone than before, but this is super sick. It is just, it's Call of Duty fucking Resident Evil at this point, dude. And I'm all for it. I'm sold, dude. I'm sold that you have different characters, different perspectives, but they play differently. Even though they play the same, it feels so much differently because this feels like an extraction mission. This feels like an actual, like, smash and grab, fucking SEAL Team 6. I'm on some dicks. It's rolling, dude. And I'm cool with it. And you have, like night vision goggles. It's all decked out, dude. You're full SEAL team. I like that you're in this nighttime perspective, considering the whole game you've kind of been in the daytime. So to add that nighttime perspective to a more tactical setting, I think also does a lot for this section. And the night vision's so cool, dude. It's just, I love this. I love this. I'm glazing hard. I'm glazing so freaking hard right now. And I mean, there's only one real gripe with this section, and that's the fact that it took my revolver and it took my rocket pistol, and it's not that I really needed them. The machine gun got the job done. His cool sidearm got the job done. But I love those guns, and it's not that I was always falling back on them. I was constantly switching and trying different things. But it was the fact that I don't like when games take my guns away. And if I'm going to be cash money with that in other games and shit on it, I have to call it out here. I just feel like that is the fair thing to do. It's not like it started me out with the worst gun in the game again, which a lot of the games that take your guns away do. It does give you a different tactical load, even though I had it, even though I wasn't supposed to have it. Thank you, the silly thing I bought in the store that gave me all sorts of cool guns. But at the same time, I do have to look at this and be like, yeah, it does kind of suck that I built all this stuff. I like upgraded it all and then I can't use it. Even though this gun still slaps, it's not like it's bad. It's just something I gotta call out. The real place that I noticed this though was there's a section in this where you're like putting a spotlight on this giant tree, and you're getting attacked by floods and waves of the zombie lichen things, and so you're constantly bouncing between guns and then spotting scoping it, and you'll kind of see the tree I'm talking about right here. I got on top of this fucking roof way too late. But this part kind of annoyed me because I would have liked a bit more variation in the styles of attacks that I was going with this constant flood of enemies. It's just, like, not terrible. It was just, I felt like I was doing more variety in my pre-attacks beforehand. So it would have been cool to have, like, go, like, my revolver, and then that's out of ammo. Oh, shit, machine gun. Fuck, out of ammo, then switch to my pistol, and then, like, scramble around, reload, and then do another, I don't know, it would have been better to have a lot more variations in weaponry right here, but what are you gonna do? I then fight the big guy with the fucking hammer again. He's, like, super better this time. I did not realize what I was supposed to be doing. I thought that I was just kind of waiting for him to attack, then avoiding it, and then shooting him in the back. And then I was like, oh shit, I could like summon the fucking hellfire on top of his ass. And that's what I found out it was what you were supposed to do. I fought this boss way longer than I should have. But come to find out, all I had to do was drop a fucking bomb on his ass, and then he would fade away into smoke like he deserves. After all this chaos though, and after you've beat the one big bad of this area, you finally get to go to Mother Miranda's secret hideout. It is finally time to see where all the thinking's been done. And you know what I fucking find there? You know who's still alive? That's right. Ethan's fucking wife. She's still alive. She's been like kidnapped, put into jail, so I don't know why the Mother Miranda would keep her alive. That really doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, yes, video game logic, movie logic, whatever. At the same time, it's just like when they let Ethan live at the very beginning of the game, or why Mother Miranda didn't kill him out of the curiosity she has, quote unquote. It's just one of those things that I was like, alright, cool, she's alive, I guess. It's just odd. I do understand why they kept her alive, which we'll get to in a little bit, but I don't know. It was just kind of a gripe I had. It's not bad by any means. I think it's cool that she's still alive. It gives you hope because you know Ethan's still alive. That boy is still out there, steady grinding. Your main objective here is to save Ethan's daughter and blow up this whole area because these mofos need to go sky high. They've had their run in the sun. It's time to tear them up. And that's kind of what Chris is gonna do. But then you're switched back to Ethan, and you just kind of like wake up in this marsh, and there's a little girl there, and basically she explains that you have been dead this whole time, and you are the mold that all these other people are made out of, and what the bad guys from the last game were made out of. You died when the dude killed you in the last game at the beginning of the game, and that's kind of cool. I really like the way they did that. I do you get this vibe that this is Ethan's last outing, because like before, the way he died was really unceremonious, and you knew that there was more to be had and there was questions to be answered. Like the fact that every time he gets hurt, he just fucking pours water on himself and he's good again. And that's kind of a cool thought process too on this whole situation, because he's pouring liquid on himself just like a plant when it's like regrowing a new limb. You pour fucking, it soaks in some sun and water, and all of a sudden it's got itself a new limb again. So it makes sense how Ethan's able to just overcome all these obstacles. After he leaves the dreamscape though, he wakes up in the fat guy's cart, because old Boogie went out on the battlefield and pulled him into the cart, knowing that he had one more fight in him, and he's already heading his happy ass over to Mother Miranda. Because this guy's based. I don't know who this shop guy is. I heard he was in Resident Evil 4. I haven't played Resident Evil 4, but I fucking love this man. This man is the best. He is awesome. He was there for me throughout this whole game. He was like a steady fucking friend. Everyone else was stupid, got themselves killed, was cringe. This guy had my fucking back. I love this dude. I fucking love the shop guy. He was so cool the whole game. If there was one character that's just a 10 out of 10 in this game, it's definitely Shop Cart Guy. He fucking has all the skibbity. That might even not be, he just has all the riz, dude. All the riz. I don't know why it's the skibbity, but he has all the fucking riz, and he's fat, dude. He should have anti-riz. But he proves to all the fat people out there that you can still have riz and be fat. But I finally get to my point where I'm gonna confront Mother Miranda. She's like turning my baby into an evil baby, but it doesn't work for some reason, because I show up with my fucking Glock and I'm like, listen, bitch, that's my child. You need to step the fuck off before I fuck you up. That's basically it. I hate you. You're gonna die. You have my kid. And then they wrote in some like plot armor where because she was doing this ritual, she's weaker than she was before when she killed us last time. So therefore I can fight her. I mean, yeah, it's again like plot armor as motherfucker, but it's cool. This ends up being my favorite boss fight in the game. I love that she's like a dark angel, and you get like a dark angel fight, like something out of Doom, but in fucking Resident Evil. I love this. This is number 1. Then make a vampire titty face. She's number 2. No, Heisenberg, then make titty face. And then everyone else. It's like Squid Guy, and then last, obviously, is gonna be fucking, whatever that fucking stupid, puppet one was. That shit was cringe. But yeah, this is really cool. I love this fucking boss fight. It worked so well. A lot of the side bosses, too, like the guy with the hammer and the fucking propeller chainsaw guys, those were fucking amazing. Those are still better than Puppet Bitch. That shit still was, it was cool. It was cinematic. It just wasn't a fucking good boss fight. You didn't get one. You fucking walked around a house looking for a fucking puppet, and then it was over. But this was cool. I liked that I could finish her off with my fucking revolver, because I got it back. That shit's so amazing. This is the coolest revolver in video games, and that even counts Red Dead Redemption 2. I know there's some sick revolvers in that, but it doesn't fucking one-shot everybody like this fucking thing does. After you defeat her, it's kind of like the perfect ending feeling, You feel like you finally accomplished something. You feel like all the obstacles ahead of your way are done. And there's nothing better than that in a story. Now, one of the best things with all characters, at the end of the story, they are officially dead. Whether they live and see the sunrise, and then you see them walk into the sunset or sunrise, or they die in the medium, it's still the end of that character for you. Doesn't matter what. It's just how it works. Literature's done. Movies done. That character might never get a sequel. So you either kill him off or let him run in the sunset, and then you do whatever. And they're gonna kill Ethan off here. He knew going into this. Fat guy told him this was the end for him. Everyone knows it's the end for Ethan. He did save his ugly ass baby, which is good. I mean, even if the baby's ugly, I don't believe they should die. I mean, ugly babies can still grow up to be beautiful people. They might just have the unlucky disadvantage of being born with a fucking bucket head. I do love how Chris is like fully on my side here too. He's like, listen man, we're gonna get you out of here. And I'm like, no dude. No, this is my end. This is the end, boys. I know that you will get my daughter to safety, Chris, because you've always had my best intentions at heart. Even when I was too stupid to realize that there was somebody who had kidnapped my wife and was pretending to be my wife, I knew that you had my back. I know that I have been kind of at odds with you throughout this whole game, but you're a homie. You take my daughter to safety, and here's where the mother still being alive makes sense, because somebody's got to raise this fucking kid, unless it turns out being raised in a lab, which will end up making her an enemy in a future Resident Evil game probably. But at least now she can be the hero later. Like when Resident Evil 9 comes out, we'll probably play as her, which I think is pretty cool. Like get a female perspective in there, I guess, as long as it's not written by some people to tell me she's female every fucking 5 seconds. Just let her be a based ass character that has a good ass story. I do like that Ethan takes out this giant fucking monster as his last fucking line of defense. He's fucking fading away into dust, just like all the monsters he's been fighting the whole game. So poetic, dude. Just so fucking good. I can't think of a better way to send this character off. I love when a character's done justice, and they did this guy justice. And it's super sad watching the wife deal with it, because like I hate to think about how my wife would be in that situation, where she would be like, dude, where's my husband? Where's Jeff? Where's King Jiffy? Where is he? And then it's like, oh, King Jiffy had to go into the forest and blow himself up. That's not cool. I mean, even if I'm dying, it still sucks that my wife has to deal with that. So it's kind of a tough moment on Chris. He acts like kind of an asshole through it, but like, yeah, even tough guys gotta hide their emotions sometimes. And sometimes it's better to just say nothing, or to act gruff and let the situation be known in the air. Let the air tell the message instead of you being regurgitating your goddamn feelings all the time. What a based-ass individual Chris Renfield is. My favorite character in this game, other than Fat Man in the Car. And then they blow up the monster. I mean, we did it. We saved the day, guys. We're the best. Before I get into the actual ending of this game, I do want to kind of say something right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you. And I do have to say that I love that this game was a good first-person shooter and a good game together. I feel like it's an issue in modern gaming like conversations, where people are like, oh, it's just an FPS game, it doesn't have to have that good of a story. Fuck you. Play Resident Evil 8. It has a good story. Play BioShock. There's so many great games that are FPS based games and have great stories, and I feel like in modern video games it's almost like, well, we have to make the game third person or it won't have a good story. Go fuck yourself. That is not how it has to be. I hate that mentality. I hate that we get so much of the same style game over and over again. It's nice to play a good first-person shooter every once in a while with a really good story. We've been seeing more of them lately. It's just something I really love to see, and that's been kind of Resident Evil Village. Just kidding. MCU after credits cutscene. We got an after credits cutscene, everybody, and guess who it is? It's our daughter. She's grown up. She's not an uggo. Way! She just had a bucket head as a child, but now she's not ugly, so that's good. That's good. She's got that going for her. She kind of looks like a combination of her mom and dad, like a child should. Well, there we go. And guess what? We're probably playing as her in Resident Evil 9, and I'm okay with that. She seems like a pretty cool individual. Whoever her driver is a fucking douchebag, and I don't like him. But that's really all you get. It kind of alludes that Chris is going to be in the next game. Resident Evil 9 is going to be played from her perspective, and I'm ready to fucking see it. I can't wait. I'm so excited for Resident Evil 9. When this video drops, we'll probably have a ton of news on Resident Evil 9 anyways, but I have a feeling it's going to be open world. As long as they don't fall into the same open world tropes as the Ubisoft game, we'll be Gucci. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.